What's up, and welcome to That's Enough, the show that's all about the sports topics we just can stop talking about. I'm Mike Janella. He's Steve Hofstetter. We're both going through it. I welcomed my first child a couple weeks ago, so I'm on no sleep. And Steve is in a different city in the country every day on tour. So I don't know how your life is going, but probably pretty hectic too.
I think you probably win that with the newborn.
We'll see. But we're not here to talk about us. Again, we keep these shows to 15 minutes or less. That's our goal. So let's get right into it. And Steve, this week, NBA playoffs are going on. NHL playoffs are going on. I think the WNBA is kicking off their regular season this weekend. Baseball's fully a month in. And what was every single person in America talking about? The NFL releasing an Excel spreadsheet. The schedule. And even before schedule release day, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, got one whole day to announce their opening game of the season, and I think you've got something to say about that.
I do. I am tired of this America's team crap. This started, I was curious. I was like, I want to look into the history of this. I was like, how did this start? This was something that the Cowboys called themselves in a promotional video, in like their end of the season recap video in like the late 70s. They just called themselves that. And then everybody's like, oh, it's America's team. Like, oh, can we just make that up now? First of all, very much not America's team. The Cowboys are hated outside of most of Texas, even parts of Texas, because there is another team in Texas that people constantly forget. And I just think it's so ridiculous.
And Texas is a state now with a ton of transplants, people who come from other cities that love other teams.
Absolutely. Like, you're barely Dallas's team. How dare you say that you
Fort Worth's team, they're Irvington's team, or whatever that suburb is.
Exactly. Like, yeah, what are you going to be? Plano's team, Arlington's team? Like, it's
Arlington,
ridiculous.
that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, Arlington. It is utterly ridiculous that a team can just decide to call them something or call themselves something, and then everybody just jumps on board.
Well, the one thing, and it was the timing of it, right? Because that's when they were winning all their Super Bowls in the Roger Staubach era, like in the 70s, before the Steelers, after the Packers, if I think I have that chronology right. So I understand at that point, it's not like it is now where you can watch every single team, every single Sunday, every single game. And if the Cowboys were the team that you saw in the Super Bowl every other year, or, 4 times in 6 years, then I get it. If you're a kid in Seattle or growing up in New Jersey at that point, and the Jets suck or whatever, like maybe you gravitate to the front running team. I think that's why the Steelers also have a huge, like, loyal national fan base, because a lot of people grew up Steel Curtain, like those teams when they were doing well. But what's crazy to me, I agree with you, is that the marketing is stuck and that it wasn't bestowed upon them. It was self-anointed. But
yeah,
I give them credit. I give them credit for owning it and keeping it going.
Look, I get that they were on TV a lot more than other teams at that time. But the idea, like, could we just, we're America's podcast. We're welcome to America's podcast.
We're redoing the show art. New thumbnail coming to Spotify next week.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like, we're it's like a random restaurant that says world famous blah blah blah, and it's like, I live here and I only have heard of you because I drove by and saw your silly sign.
World's best clam chowder on like a roadside diner in Bayonne, New Jersey, that no one's ever even had before.
Yeah, I love that. It's that scene from Elf where he's like, "World's best coffee, you did it!"
Oh yeah,
you did
exactly.
It. Congratulations.
So let's see. Cowboys, they lost the Super Bowl in 1971. They won the next year in 72, and then they were back in 76 and 78 and 79. So I get it. For Gen X, that was the team that you probably saw the most when people were watching it, in mass, come Super Bowl time and playoff time. And my landscaper has just showed up, so he has I think an interest in this. Sorry if you hear any lawnmowing going on in the back. Part of it, though, is like, who is keeping this going? Like, obviously, Jerry Jones has been the most front-facing owner in the NFL for as long as he's owned the team now, for going on almost 40 years. But like the other night, it was Nick Celtics, and I opened the ESPN app, and at the very top of the app was a video of Stephen A. Smith breaking down the fact that the Cowboys were playing the Eagles in the NFL season opener, I had to scroll down at least 2 thumb swipes before I got to see the score of the live Celtics-Knicks game in an NBA playoff round. So I
Yeah.
think the media also goes into this, but part of that is because half of America, if not more, does hate this team. So in a way, does being America's team when everybody hates you, does that kind of make sense though in this day and age?
Well, it's possible, but also considering all their drug arrests in the 90s, I would call them South America's team. But
Oof.
the
I'm not touching that.
well, I did. But I think part of it is just lazy. It's media being lazy. Part of it is media not look like I bet more than half of the people who have called them America's team in an interview, in an article, etc., do not know that that was bestowed on them by their own recap video.
By themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's print the legend, right? That's the old saying. But yeah, it's also the part that irks me the most about that. And I do like the subversive take that, well, yeah, they're America's team. Everyone hates them. Just like, America, everyone kind of hates a lot of stuff that's mainstream these days. So it's not a point of pride, that phrase anymore, even if the Cowboys continue using it as such. But they don't win. Like, I get it if you're the Lakers and people are sick of getting the Lakers being shoved down their throat by sports media coverage, or the Yankees, who again only won a World Series in the last 25 years, but still they're at least continuously in contention. The Cowboys haven't made a Super Bowl in 30 years. That's the point that's crazy to me, because all these other teams that people love or hate getting shoved down their throats, at least they're justifying it. They're earning it. What have the Cowboys done except lose disappointingly every postseason?
I have a new nickname for them. America's third place team.
There you go. America's second runner up.
All right, you want to do a not an ad read?
Yes, let's do not an ad read for our halftime here. Then I got my topic for the week. As always, this is not an ad from a brand that does not sponsor us, so please don't sue us. This week's episode brought to you by HBO Max. We think that's still its name by the time you listen to it, but who knows? They changed it yesterday. They might change it by the time this episode comes out tomorrow. HBO Max, we have some of the best shows on TV and the worst branding to prove it. This was not an ad, but it could be. Reach out to us at thatsenoughshow@gmail.com. I got a kick out of that. And I give the HBO team and the Max social media team credit, at least, because they're owning it. They're having a blast with this.
Yeah.
But the PR team must be hating it.
For so long, their whole thing was it's not TV, it's HBO. And now we're like, is it HBO? Is it HBO Max? Is it Max? Is it with
Right.
It's not.
We're not TV.
Familiar.
It's HBO. It's not HBO. It is TV. No, never mind. It is HBO and it's TV. And, Anyway, before we veer into this becoming an entertainment podcast, let's get back to sports. So something else this week, I already mentioned it briefly. The Knicks, not the only NBA team playing. A lot of playoff rounds happening. And it's something that I have felt for a long time, but I've never had the platform to really talk about it. Thankfully, this podcast now exists. The NBA, and correct me if I'm wrong, you, Steve, or anybody in the comments or online, I'm pretty sure the NBA is the only professional sports league, at least to that level, that plays music and sound effects and prompts in the middle of the game action. Like, you go to a Mets game, obviously, the charge organ while the pitcher is tossing the rosin bag, or make some noise while the hitter steps out of the batter's box, or the Edwin Diaz trumpets and light show when he comes in from the bullpen. Or at a football game, they'll play Welcome to the Jungle on a big third down or whatever as the guys are getting up on the line of scrimmage. But never in like Tom Brady's career, when he drops back to pass and is about to launch a 15-yard slant, are they like throwing in a clip from Anchorman, like while that's happening. But in the NBA, they're doing it. And even in the playoffs, they're doing the defense and they're doing, hip hop and rap lyrics and music and all this stuff while Jalen Brunson's dribbling the ball across half court. How is this allowed? These guys, this is like the pinnacle of their profession. And they have to deal with all this while they're trying to call plays or call out screens or set up defenses. Let these guys play. Like, why?
The curmudgeon in me automatically sees it and be like, it is, well, even with with baseball, where things are very much between the action, not only between the action, but typically like between innings. I see that and be like, you really don't like the game enough to pay attention that you need constant, which musical artist was born the same year as this first baseman. Like, you need stuff like that. But I also understand that it's entertainment. It's always entertainment. It's all going to be entertainment. And I do think that sometimes it's a little silly. I mean, we saw that with the Celtics injury. Like, we saw that
Yeah,
with
Jason Tatum tears his Achilles while they're blasting like sound effects, and the Knicks are going the other way, and this guy just lost the next 18 months of his career.
he
It's
tears his
goofy.
Achilles, and you just hear boing. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it can be a little much, absolutely. But I do think fans seem to enjoy it, and it does get everybody paying attention all the time, which for a sport like basketball, where until the last 10 minutes of the game, one shot doesn't matter. It's the highest scoring sport. It's the sport where you could see a team, the last Knicks Celtics game, Knicks were up by 8 early in the first half, and I was like, oh, this looks great. It's going to be a wrap. And then they lost by like 25 points. Like, basketball is a huge swing.
That's that because I could see it the other way too, because it has constant action. Every possession you could see an amazing dunk or a crazy 3-pointer or a wild crossover. Like, if anything, that should be where you need the least outside entertainment, because the sport itself is providing it to you. Whereas maybe soccer, it's a 13 pass possession that amounts to nothing, or hockey, guys are just skating back and forth for a while, or baseball, I mean, it's a 10 pitch at bat, just foul ball after foul ball. Basketball, I don't, is it too much action that it's too hypnotic? I don't get it. And also, here's my case in point. You watch a college basketball game, none of this is happening. You throw on a Duke basketball game and Cameron Indoor Stadium or Kansas at Fog Allen, that crowd, they're doing all the noise and all the chanting you need. They don't need prompts. They don't, and I get, NBA crowds are a lot more the happy hour people, or, folks that aren't, diehards like a lot of college towns, but they've proven, and I think Boston was the last arena to kind of do in action sounds, and they do still do very old school stuff. They don't really do modernized stuff like some of the more trending teams do, but it's proven that you can have basketball with an engaged crowd that doesn't have to be prompted with the Lowe's noise meter, or like, the McDonald's hype chart or whatever in the middle of a guy launching a 3-pointer. You can do it during timeouts, inbounds plays, whatever. It's just when the ball's being bounced, you got to stop that.
Well,
Curmudgeon Mike checking in.
All right, you make a couple good points there. One of those good points is that I think we finally just learned why so many Duke players fizzle out in the NBA. They're just not
they're not used to the noise.
Exactly. It's just so quiet there. No, I think that, look, I don't think they would do it if it wasn't working. And while it's something that we could look at it and be like, why is this needed? Well, to some people, when they're bringing their kids and they're, et cetera, they're casual fans, then that's why it's needed. And look, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I think it could be a little too much. But I get it. It must be working.
I guess so. And I get this complaint a lot firsthand at Mets games. There is a generation that thinks even we do too much. Let the game speak for itself. And we never impede on any action, any gameplay. We might have a lot of stuff going on outside of that. But to your point, it must be working for somebody. I just wish, no matter the sport, when the actual clock is running, let us enjoy the sport. Bombard me any other second besides that, and for the kids and whatever, but let the guys play when it's time for them to play.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Well, we agreed on that. I think we agreed on both of these, which is nice sometimes to not just have us going at each other, but let us know if you disagree. You can reach out to us at That's Enough Show on all your favorite social media platforms, and that's enough show at gmail.com. Steve, we've got like 20 seconds left. Any plugs? You're on tour. Anybody that you want to come buy tickets or see you out this week?
Yeah, come see me. I've got like 100 cities this year. It's on my website, stevehofstetter.com, and at Steve Hofstetter on all social media.
All right, good deal. And if you see me at a Mets game, come say what's up, but not while the music and the lights are playing, because we got to focus on the entertainment, keeping everybody happy. He's Steve, I'm Mike, and we hope that you had a good time. But that's enough.